So I don't know what it is, but I seem to have a particular talent for earning the ire of conservative grifters. People in the most disingenuous aspect and space of conservatism. I make them very, very angry consistently, which is interesting because if you watch any of the reactions to my content from the left on Twitter, it's usually you're a Fox News watching ultra MAGA conservative that believes everything that you're told by everyone, and you're a sucker for right wing whatever. I'm accused of being a bot, a drone, just an NPC, somebody who will follow the right wing no matter what. That I'm a fan of, like Seth Meyer or Mike Cernovich. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, these people hate my guts because I'm not a lemming like they're used to. They're used to the most brain dead audience that doesn't question anything that they say. They just uncritically gazes at them with brilliance, like, oh my god. No, I find them to be pathetic. I find them to be utterly unctuous, just worms, basically. I mean, look at Seth Meyer. He went on Tim Cass recently. What did he do? Well, he did what conservatives always do. He tried to use the Bud Light situation as an opportunity to enrich himself at the expense of actually helping the movement, helping the cause, and helping himself. Because his beer, his garbage tier, like conservative, anti woke branded beer, was $20 for a 6 pack plus shipping. That is fucking egregious. And I called that out, and he hated that. He was very, very upset. And there were a bunch of bought and paid for bots, bought and paid for. That were posting cringe. It's whatever, it happens. But this is the type of guy that will look at a situation and instead of coming up with an actual solution, they will try to do this cheap garbage thing that only appeals to the ultra wealthy. I hate to break this to you, but no one is going to pay $40 for a 6 pack with shipping. No one's going to pay that. That is egregious. That's a gimmick at that point. So when it comes to Mike Cernovich is part of a group and an idea that I despise, which is kissing the ass of whatever person or entity is in power that you want to ingratiate yourself to. I think it's pretty clear that whether people are on the right or the left, they're going to hate me. They're not going to like what I have to say because I'm not looking to ingratiate myself into any group. And so if Mike Cernovich is having an issue with something that I was saying, you can usually pretty much tell that I've landed on the right mark. And in this case, it's about the situation with Elon Musk responding to the Daily Wire's "What is a Woman" being censored by Twitter. Now, I actually think that it's important, and I'm going to do that now, to show you the series of tweets from Matt Walsh in the Daily Wire. In fact, I actually want to go to Jeremy Boring because I think that he did a pretty good job. I've criticized the Daily Wire. I've criticized Jeremy Boring. But the bottom line is that regardless of if I criticize these people, I don't think they should be censored. I don't think they should be taken down. And in this post in particular, I think is very, very good. Twitter canceled the deal with the Daily Wire to premiere "What is a Woman" for free on the platform because of 2 instances of quote-unquote misgendering. Misgendering is not a thing, by the way. It doesn't exist. It is a complete and total fabrication. It's to justify the aggression and hatred and intolerance of the left. There is no misgendering going on. By the way, it's Pride Month, so let me tell you that my position on this is scientific. Trans women are men, and trans men are women. I'm not kidding. Here's what happened. 1 year ago today, we released "What is a Woman?" To celebrate the occasion and expand the movie's already enormous impact, we decided to give it away for 24 hours on Twitter. With Twitter's recent commitment to free speech, we thought it would be the perfect place to distribute the film and drive the conversation forward on one of the most important topics of the day. Twitter responded with enthusiasm and offered to give us the opportunity to buy a package to host the movie on a dedicated event page and to promote the event to every Twitter user over the first 10 hours. We accepted and signed an agreement. After we signed, Twitter asked to see the film to better understand what part may trigger users so that they could better prepare for their response. They said they were still all hands on deck for the launch, so we sent them a screener. After reviewing the film, though, Twitter let us know that not only could we no longer purchase the package they offered, they would no longer provide us any support and would actually limit the reach of the film and label it as hateful conduct because of misgendering. Specifically, in the film, a father refers to his 14-year-old daughter as her, and a store owner uses the wrong pronoun in a confrontation with a trans person. We reminded Twitter they removed misgendering from their policy, and that the term misgendering itself is misleading, and that enforcing such a policy places them on the side of the most radical elements in society, the side most opposed to their commitment to free speech. Twitter clarified they only removed misgendering from their policy because they didn't need to be that specific, but they still consider misgendering abuse and harassment. Now, where have we seen this before? Where have we seen this? Oh, yeah. On Jack's Twitter. On Vijaya Gade's Twitter. This is the old Twitter that we had come to know and hate. They gave us the opportunity to edit the film to comply. We declined. When we asked how much they would limit the visibility if we posted the film anyway, Twitter responded that our own followers would not be able to see it in their feeds. This, they said, is part of their speech not reach policy. By the way, that's bullshit. Because people willingly subscribe to Jeremy Boring and the Daily Wire, and for them to remove it from the feed of the audience, that is censorship. Now, you could say, well, they're a private company. No, sure, yeah, they are. But if they have made an open declaration of free speech, like, I'll give you an example. I bought a Twitter Blue verification based on the promise of free speech. If they now go back on that, that is false advertising. They advertise themselves as something that they are clearly not. So that is a big deal. While they can do whatever they want as a company, there are certain things that if you bill yourself and brand yourself as something, you can't just become whatever you want. You have an obligation to the consumer based on what you said. Otherwise, a corporation could just lie about what they're selling and give you garbage. But there are consumer protections in place. The left doesn't understand this because they are functionally retarded. Of course, saying you have the right to speak, but we'll make sure no one hears you is a bit like saying you have the right to cast a vote, but we'll make sure it isn't counted. That's absolutely true. That's not a right at all. We brought all our shows to Twitter Tuesday because we believed Twitter was committed to free speech. After all, the Babylon Bee was silenced on Twitter over this very issue. And that in part prompted Elon to purchase the platform. The other tech platforms have already decided where they stand in the trans debate and demonetize and deprioritize all those who disagree. Now, Twitter has joined the ranks of the other tech superpowers in ensuring one side of the debate is suppressed, the right side of the debate, and I don't mean that politically. Elon Musk is not beholden to conservatives. True. He has the right to run his business as he sees fit. But if Twitter is going to throttle one side of one of the most important debates facing society, it cannot claim to be a champion of free speech. I hope Elon Musk will reconsider this awful policy. If we can't debate these issues on Twitter, where can we debate them? If conservatives aren't welcome on Twitter, where are they welcome? Rumble. Get on Rumble. It's unlikely another centibillionaire will come along to offer an alternative. We plan to post the movie anyway tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Will Twitter make good on their threat to throttle it and label it hateful conduct? Or will Twitter live up to its great promise? We'll find out together. Elon and I responded. This whole interaction, by the way, is before this response. So let's go back for a bit. This was earlier in the day, or actually no, it was at the same time. I apologize. So Elon Musk responded. This was a mistake. This was a mistake by many people at Twitter. How? This is what blows my mind. This was a mistake by many people at Twitter. How is it possible that people can still... Oh, that's right. The CEO is a woke WEF, Biden administration working leftist. Oh, that kind of makes sense. It is definitely allowed. Whether or not you agree... So basically he goes into this. I'm not going to read Dave Ruman's comment. Yeah, I saw some people getting nasty. Jeremy didn't, obviously, he was just flagged. It is hard to understand why people just say, fuck these people. I feel that way myself sometimes. One thing goes wrong and it's an angry mom forms. So here's the problem. Here's the issue. This is deeply concerning. This isn't like, oh, golly shucks, Twitter did something, oops. This is the Daily Wire revealing that they had an intimate phone call. This isn't some vague nebulous thing that Twitter did. Like, oh, they banned James Woods. Why did they ban him? Well, nobody knows. It could be anything. It could, he's been reinstated. They fixed it. But why was he banned in the first place? Why was he suspended in the first place? We don't know. We don't really have any information. This is a very detailed conversation. Well, I mean, not super detailed, but it's a pretty clear outline of what happened. They saw this movie and they said, no, this is not confusing. They said they didn't need to be specific, but they still consider misgendering to be abuse and harassment. This is damning stuff. So what Cernovich is saying, because he wants to kiss the ass of Elon Musk, which Elon Musk does a great job, but this guy is a cocksucker. This is a guy that's willing to put his mouth on another man's cock because he wants to ingratiate himself and get him the good graces. I don't give a shit. There is no way that somebody in good faith could come up with an opinion like this. Like, Twitter does this. This is fucking egregious. Elon comes out with a response like, oh yeah, well, it's okay. But we're going to show that it's still not okay. We're going to show that it's still not okay. So, Elon says this, and Cernovich, blows him and just like, basically insulting people for... I understand what he's saying. There are some doom pillars out there. Like, any one thing goes wrong and the whole thing goes tits up. But there is a world of difference between that and people who criticize when things like this happen. Fuck these people. I feel that way myself sometimes. One thing goes wrong and an angry mob forms. Most don't even have Twitter Blue to support the site. So, this is all very, very, very important, and I will explain why. Because this guy says this, and my response is, will these employees be fired? Doubtful. So what really changes? Does that sound like a completely doom-pilled statement? Like the end is nigh. Let's boycott Twitter. Let's burn this down. No. But when I wrote this, it was very clear that the statement from these employees that they were putting out to the Daily Wire on behalf of Twitter was, well, you know what? Misgendering is still abuse and harassment. So what will happen to these employees? Nothing. So what really changes? What are you telling me that Twitter as it currently is, Elon Musk is going to constantly have to do this? Constantly have to do this? Constantly going to have to come in and referee? And you think that's the way the conservatives are going to be able to function on this platform? No. That is utter madness. So, how does Cernovich respond? Well, clearly he doesn't know me. I don't blame him. He's got 1 million subscribers, whatever. You're exactly the type of malcontent I am speaking of. Don't get your way 100% and you're a giant baby doomer. I responded, you don't know me or my content, so I'll attribute your overly emotional, immature outburst to that. No, Mike, I'm not a doomer or a malcontent. I'm not out here advocating a boycott of Twitter or saying everything is doomed. I'm just being realistic based on past experiences. I hope I'm wrong. Which, by the way, is far more decorum than this grifting piece of shit deserves. And this guy is an absolute scumbag. Just unbelievably dim and pathetic. Coming at me with, oh, you don't get your way 100% and you're a giant doom baby. I just am not looking to suck another man's cock like you are, Cernovich. Simple as that. I see this as an egregious violation. This is not like some little like faux pas. Like, oops. Oh, oops. We accidentally rescinded a contract that we had and told them that they're no longer allowed to show this. And in fact, not only will they not be allowed to advertise it, but we're going to actively block it on their platform and label it as misgendering. Oops. Golly shucks. I mean, this Cernovich he's why I hate conservatives, or whatever brand of grifting, so-called entrepreneur Cernovich is. I hate when people put their own personal priorities and profit above holding people accountable, because it's so damaging. He's giving Elon Musk an excuse. There is no excuse for this. I've criticized Jeremy Boring and the Daily Wire countless times, especially Ben Shapiro. Not a fan of Ben Shapiro. But at the very least, they deserve to post this up. And if you agreed to this, then you stick by your agreement. And by no means is misgendering hate or, I mean, what did they call it? They called it hate and harassment? Hate and harassment. That is fucking absurd. It is not hate or harassment. Not of any sort. It is a basic biological reality that I am observing. When I look at a trans person online and I see somebody who is obviously a man and I say, that's a man, that is not me harboring hate for that person. That is me observing reality. Just like if I looked outside and saw a tree and said, that's a tree. Now, I could say that's an oak tree. And you say, no, that's really, that's an elm tree. Like, you can misidentify a tree. It doesn't mean you hate trees. It's not a hatred for trees. If you say, I think that's an element. I say, oh, okay, no, that's actually an oak. That's not hatred. That's observing the world. Hey, look at that. It's a four-leaf clover. Actually, that's poison ivy. You're just hateful against four-leaf clovers. No, I'm just observing that you're rolling around in poison ivy. This is a big issue. You have grifting losers like Cernovich that take these opportunities to shit on people for no reason. This was not called for. I didn't insult Cernovich at all. I didn't belittle him at first. I just simply responded with, will these employees be fired? I doubt it. So what really changes? And instead of addressing this, because I think this is a legitimate issue, Elon Musk is saying, well, this is not our policy, but clearly this is what they're putting out to advertisers and other people. Cernovich's thing is to insult me personally, which I'm happy to do. I'm happy to insult you back, Cernovich. And by the way, there's way more issues with you than there is on me. I mean, we could go down the Cernovich rabbit hole, but I don't want to do that. It's a waste of my fucking time. This guy is a complete. Anyway, you get my point. Everyone knows who Cernovich is. His reputation is garbage. He's right about some things some of the time, but most of it is just him looking for attention, him looking for clout, him looking to suck another man's cock to be in their good graces because he wants to be in the in group. Me, I don't care. I will never be in the in group. The conservatives hate me. The liberals hate me. The conservatives hate me because I'm not conservative enough to fall for their bullshit and actually believe that if you're going to put out a product or a service, it shouldn't be some kind of like gimmick. Just some basic gimmick. Like if you're going to compete with, I don't know, you're going to compete with Bud Light, maybe have an affordable alternative that isn't grossly labeled with, oh, we're anti-what. It's like no one's going to fucking buy that. Just put out a great beer at a low cost and people will buy your product. But Cernovich and these grifting conservatives, yeah, they're not allies of mine. They're not friends of mine. We're not on the same team. We agree on some stuff, but I mean, I don't feel the need to try to burn down other people because they have a difference of opinion. Like, I don't fully disagree. Like, there are some doom pillars. There are some moments where Tim Pool starts talking like doom stuff. Like, oh, it's civil war. It's time to ruin the country. Everything's bad. Everything's terrible. And there's a lot of truth to it. But me, nothing I said is anywhere like I'm not saying fuck these people. I'm just saying, will the employees be fired? Doubtful. So what really changes? That's a perfectly legitimate question. What changes in this situation from what Elon Musk said? Will those employees be fired? Doubtful. So what changes? What changes from the egregious action that was taken against Jeremy Boring, Matt Walsh, and the Daily Wire? What changes about their policy? Are they going to be fired? Are they going to be publicly reprimanded? No. But this guy, looking to just give a rusty trombone to Elon Musk, comes out with this content and takes a shot at me. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know my content clearly. And it's fucking egregious. It's embarrassing. So, yeah, this was really, really disappointing. Really disappointing. I want Elon Musk to do better. Whoever these people were deserve to be absolutely fired. Get rid of them. Get rid of them and never look back. And by the way, while you're at it, fire your CEO because that is a disaster. Elon, you're going to be putting out fires for a long time. And I think that I think you're going to find yourself in a position you don't want to be in, where conservatives are getting banned and deplatformed, and all of the goodwill that you built up is going to be eviscerated. That's just my prediction. I think that Twitter is not able to survive because one person, as good as Elon Musk is, isn't able to combat all of this bullshit from so many people. If your company is promoting that your policy is at odds with what the owner is saying, that is a huge issue. That is a huge issue. And it shouldn't require the Daily Wire going and posting this whole thing. How is it that Elon Musk is the only one that can fix this? And the CEO that he got to so-called run the company is going to make things worse. Because they are a far, far left, woke, DEI, SJW activist with all of the worst tendencies in the world. Anyway, that'll do it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.